Hello, my dear students. Welcome you all to Sri Jayendra Rank Zone classes. I am your mentor and your friend for the subject biology, and I will be taking care of the zoology section. So, my dear students, as in our previous lectures of human reproduction, then we have started reproductive health. This is lecture 2 of reproductive health. Previously, we have talked about the different problems which are associated with the reproductive health and the strategies, the solutions, the possible solutions which can be an option to resolve those problems, right? Then coming next, I told you about different aspects on which the reproductive health depends, in which population or overcrowding or overpopulation is somehow the biggest factor, the influential factor which actually is responsible for poor reproductive health in developing nations, especially in India. In the last lecture, I told you about different types of parameters on which population growth is estimated. Now I am going to talk about the population growth rate, how to calculate population growth rate and what exactly population growth rate is. Before talking further, in the previous slide, that was about the population density. Mathematically, population density is calculated by number of individuals. It is given number of individuals upon space. Space means the area which they belong to, the area in which they are living. Population growth is generally of two types. One is the exponential growth. Exponential growth is the J-shaped growth. Now, J-shaped growth simply means what? When the environment impose negligible resistance, when the population or the individuals, they are offered by zero resistance, about to zero resistance from environment, and they are just growing and growing like anything. Okay, so J-shaped growth curve is an exponential growth curve, especially seen when resources are unlimited. Now, it's a matter of fact that anywhere resources, they cannot be unlimited. If there is a limitness to resources, so it's a very important fact to understand that the resources can be limited for a particular moment of time, and that is why it makes the curve J-shaped, because basically we are using a fraction of growth rate. Okay, a fraction means for particular moment. So for momentarily recordings, we are having the data to calculate the growth, number of individuals which are actually present there in that particular space. Every space, every area is having a capacity to carry the population, okay, to feed the population. For example, if I'll talk about Delhi, Calcutta, Lucknow, Mumbai, every city is having a particular space, and in that space, for example, I have given you one example as well. For example, this is a barren land area which is to be colonized by humans, animals, species, organisms. Now, this barren land area is basically it is not having anything, but the moment it is colonized by all these organisms, what will happen? Previously, in the start of the very first species, okay, previously as the species, they come, they acclimatize, they adapt to this area. Okay, so the moment these species, means the pioneer ones, they will grow here, they will increase in number. For them, the resources are unlimited. because they are actually maximally at a count of 100, 200. But when they reproduce, when they come to the reproductive age, then their count will increase enormously. And as this count increases, what will happen? The carrying capacity, now the carrying capacity of that space, of this whole space, suppose it is a circle and it is having a space of perimeter of 2 pi r. So now the carrying capacity of this space per unit time is basically, firstly it was carrying 100 individuals, now it is carrying 10,000 individuals. So maximum capacity of a space to carry number of individuals in a given time, in a given space, so that is the carrying capacity. R, small r, is the intrinsic rate of natural increase. Intrinsic rate of natural increase means you cannot stop this increase from happening. It's an intrinsic rate of natural increase, means natural births, okay, natural deaths. So intrinsic rate of natural increase means it is the inherent potential of that particular living population which is actually increasing. They are having the reproduction, they are having the sexual intercourse, and they are just increasing their population. Okay, that is the internal instinct of any population, because the main motto of the living organisms here is what? To feed and to reproduce, to work. When it comes to humans, then it is the social well-being as well, means to spread communication, to spread knowledge. Okay, so that is why the carrying capacity is the maximum capacity of a particular area to carry number of individuals in a given space. Okay, and small r is the intrinsic rate of natural increase. You cannot stop this inherent potential of natural increase, it will increase. So that is why for a particular moment the growth is exponential, means the carrying capacity is limitless for a particular movement. Okay, but in case of logistic growth curve, what exactly happens? The population size is opposed by resistance offered by environment or resistance offered by their crew members or any type of resistance. For example, previously 100 individuals were living. Now, in that area, some around 10 individuals, they actually leave the group. Okay, but they are living in that area. So the total population count is 100 only, because now 10 are basically part of another group, but they are living in the same area. The total area carrying capacity is 100 only. But the fact is, now this 10, they will reproduce to make a group of another 100. Now this group wants to dominate the other group. This group is A, this group is B. So A wants to dominate on B, and that is why A will try to limit some of the resources on B. And that is the fact, limiting of the resources for B basically is a type of resistance offered by environment, or it can be man-made. And the growth of B will be limited or controlled by A. And that is why the logistic growth curve, this is the realistic growth curve. Realistic growth curve. And this is the ideal growth curve or idealistic growth curve. Right? So this is exponential growth curve is the idealistic growth curve. It should like that. But logistic growth curve is realistic. Okay, one important question, that every logistic growth curve initially, when dn by dt is mean the change in number of individuals at a given space is constant, mean it is zero, change is zero. Mean if the change is zero, it means the number of individuals in a particular time, there is no change, or we can say the change is having, the time is changing the number of individuals are changing, the overall change is constant. So in that case, the carrying capacity or the growth curve, it behaves like a J-shaped growth curve. Okay. So in case of logistic growth curve, the movement dn by dt, it comes to be 0 or it comes to be overall constant, then it behaves like exponential growth curve. Understood? Okay. Now coming to the next, that is today's topic, the population growth rate. Population growth rate is basically indicated by two main terminologies. First is the annual average growth rate and the second is doubling time. Annual average growth rate, number of individuals taking birth or number of growth taking place at an average scale annually, means per annum, per year. And doubling time is the amount or the time required to double that number. Growth rate depends upon the birth rate, fertility rate, death rate, mortality rate, migration, age sex ratio. Migration, you remember? Immigration, inlet, immigration, and exit, immigration. Okay. Immigration means to be a part of that population, to add to that number, and immigration means to come out of that part of population, now the number becomes less. Okay. So growth rate basically depends upon the total growth. Total growth simply means what? Number of birth, number of death, how many new individuals are added, how many individuals have left over that group, and what is the age sex ratio. Age sex ratio help us to basically find out the reproductively active age group. Reproductively active age group. Okay. So basically population growth rate is basically mentioned by the annual average growth rate and the doubling time. What exactly the growth rate is, or what are the factors on which growth rate depends on? Then the birth, that is fertility, death rate, that is mortality, migration, that is immigration and immigration, and the age sex ratio. Okay, I hope I made myself very clear. Then now comes to fertility, that is natality. Okay, fertility, that is natality. Fertility is the ability of the reproductively active individuals. It is the ability of reproductively active individuals. No rocket science in that. It's very true that the reproductively active individuals, they are only belongings of the fertile age group. They are fertile, they can reproduce, they can give rise to the new generations, right? So the fertility is the ability of the reproductively active individuals to produce babies, right? Agreed. Birth rate is the number of babies produced per 1,000 individuals. Now there is a difference between the fertility and the birth rate. Natality is the birth rate, and fertility, basically fertility is that birth rate, or fertility, we can say it is the ability of the individuals to produce babies, newborn babies, and the number of individuals which can produce these newborn babies, they make a separate group, that is the fertility group. Okay, or the individuals having, these individuals having or showing the fertility rate. Okay, so the fertility is the ability of active, already explained. Birth rate is the number of babies produced per 1,000 individuals. Yeah, it's right. Birth rate is the number of babies produced per 1,000 individuals. Per 1,000 individuals, the number of babies taking place, the number of babies now emerging, taking birth, that is birth rate. It differs from population growth rate. Birth rate, it differs from population growth rate. Population growth rate. Birth rate actually differs from the population growth rate. It is never negative. Very important. Very, very important. It is never negative. Birth rate can never be negative, while the growth rate can be negative. Yeah, growth rate can be negative. Because how the growth rate can be negative, I'll tell you. Total fertility rate is the average number of children's total fertility rate. Total fertility rate is the average number of children's that would be born to women during her lifetime. A woman on an average, she produces how many babies? So that is the total fertility rate. That is the total fertility rate. Okay. So the first one is the fertility rate. Okay. The second one is the birth rate. The third one is the total fertility rate. The total fertility rate varies from region to region. Yeah, obviously. Region to region, because the natural resources, the availability of natural resources of that particular area, the mindset of the population, the psychological inclination of that population actually helps, or actually is a very important or crucial factor imposing a fact that what is the fertility rate of that particular area. The peoples who are uneducated, who don't know, who are not aware about the sex problems or sex related problems or the reproductive health, they are not knowing about reproductive health is. They are least concerned. So in that group of individuals, it is actually a major problem. It is actually a problem of margin that they don't know, or they are least interested in knowing that how they can make themselves reproductively healthy. They have only one motto in their life: to get maximum number of individuals in that family, so that they can support the survival, right? So the total fertility rate, it varies from region to region. The more developed countries have lower fertility rates. It's very obvious. The more developed countries have lower fertility rates than the developed countries. Now, fertility is mainly controlled by economics and human aspiration. That's right. Fertility is mainly controlled by economics, means the economical status, and the human aspirations. What exactly human of that area wants to be. If he or she wants to be just a, we can say just a productive range, just a, they want to be just a factory outlet to produce number of babies, so that they can use those number of babies in various fields to earn money, or to make their survival easy. So that is one of the mindset. Okay. Or if looking to the educated persons, those educated persons, they know the limitness, they know about the reproductive health, they know about the complications if a woman is married to in an early age to a person. So all these factors, they are very important factors which actually rule over to make the population growth rate and to decide the reproductive health of that particular nation. Okay. Now, replacement level is the number of children a couple must produce to replace themselves. If a couple produces one individual, okay, so that one individual is a replacement level of that couple. So replacement level is the number of children a couple must produce to replace themselves, so as to maintain the population zero growth level. So as to maintain the population zero growth level. Okay. Zero growth level means the couple will die. Obviously, they are going to have a morbidity, they are going to have mortality, and the new individuals, they will reach to that age. Okay. So a couple means two of them are dying and one is basically taking the hold of their family. Okay. So basically, that is a factor which makes all over things just cancel out, the mortality rate, the natality rate, so everything is just cancel out. Okay, means now the growth rate is balanced. Replacement level is slightly higher than 2 because some children die before reaching reproductive age. That's very obvious. Replacement level is slightly greater than 2 because some children, they die before reaching to the reproductive age. Means they actually have replaced the individuals, they actually have replaced the couples, but before reaching to the reproductive age, when they are going to replace themselves, then if they are basically caught by the morbidity or the reason of the morbidity anyhow, okay, then the replacement level, it diminishes, it decreases. Replacement level, the least replacement level, is a signature of the most developed nation. If the replacement level is 2.1 in developed countries, it just simply means what? It is under the process of development. Mean peoples, they ought to have that knowledge, they ought to have that education profile. Okay, that what, why, how to control the population. And 2.7 in developing countries due to higher death rate at the immature age. And it is 2.7 in developing countries due to higher death rate at the immature age. Okay, so replacement level is 2.1 in developed countries and it is 2.7 in the developing countries due to higher death rate at immature age. Okay, the replacement level is high, mean they are reproducing, but the progenies, the new generation which is formed, that new generation is able enough, whether it is able enough to carry itself or not. If it is increasing by some disease or what, so they are going to die. So they have added to that family, they have replaced their parents, but the fact is now they are caught by some disease at immature age. Okay, so that is why replacement level is a marker of the country's economic and social status. Age and sex structures. Age and sex structures, it's a very important parameter. Okay, Bodenheimer in 1958, okay, Bodenheimer in 1958 proposed 3 age groups: pre-reproductive, post-reproductive and reproductive. So pre-reproductive, reproductive and post-reproductive. Infants and older people have higher mortality rate than individuals of other ages. That's very true. Infants and older people, as their immune system is, in case of older people, the immune system is degraded. In infants, the immune system is underdeveloped. Okay, so they have higher mortality rate than individuals. That's right. The proportion of the reproductively active males and females in a population also influences the population growth. The proportion of reproductively active males and reproductively actively females in a population also influences the population growth. If the number of reproductively active males and females is not balanced or is not according to the constant ratios, required ratios, then it will lead to the limitless population, overcrowding, overpopulation, population explosion. So the birth rate is influenced by the number of people, number of female individuals who are in active reproductive age. Birth rate is directly influenced by a number of female individuals who are in active reproductive age, that is 15 to 44 years. So in case of females, this reproductive age, that is 15 to 44 years, if she is giving 10 births, 4 birth, 5 birth, the total birth is total fertility rate. If she is giving 1 birth only, okay, and that 1 birth is basically replacing the couple, right? That is the replacement level, right? Understood? So these are the factors on which we have been questioned very prominently, like birth rate. It can be it cannot be negative, but growth rate can be negative. Total fertility rate, then replacement level, okay, then age and sex structures, right? Okay. Mortality. Mortality is the death rate per 1,000 individuals. Yeah, that's right. Mortality is the death rate, number of individuals dying per 1,000. Out of 1,000, 100, 200, 500, 1,000 are dying, okay, or 900 are dying. That is the mortality rate. Death rate has fallen in most countries, yeah, because of advancements in medical diagnostics and treatment. Medical diagnostics and treatment means now we are having such techniques which can diagnose a disease at a very early stage. So we can start the treatment. Okay. So death rate has fallen in most of the countries because now the medical industry is reaching everywhere. Okay, it is transportable. It is transportable. Okay, and the medical diagnostics and treatment, they have actually upgraded very much. It is due to, and this is the most important reason. Okay, and the another reasons are improved personal hygiene, sanitation, and modern medicines. Okay, so nowadays the rate of, or the death rate, the mortality rate is basically decreased due to these reasons. Improved personal hygiene. Okay, mean now everyone, whether it is he or she is educated or not, they know the importance of personal hygiene. Especially these times, they know the importance of personal hygiene. Okay, understood? Now coming to next, demographers. Demographers mean the persons, the personals, the officials, or the who are basically related or who are on the research of study of population. Generally use crude birth rate. Crude means the raw birth rate, crude birth rate, and crude death rate. Crude birth rate is the number of live births, very important term, number of live births per 1,000 person in a middle of a given year. Okay, in a middle of a given year. Mean crude birth rate is the number of live births per 1,000 persons in middle of a given year. Mostly counted in July 2011. Okay, so 2011 we actually have our census. So that census basically help us to know about different states, the population size, the age sex ratio, okay, the area of that state, everything. So mostly counted in July 2011. Okay, crude death rate is the number of deaths per 1,000 persons in a middle of a given year. So crude birth rate and crude death rate. So crude birth rate, number of live births per 1,000 persons in a middle of a year. Crude death rate is the number of deaths per 1,000 persons in the middle of a year. What exactly middle of a year mean? Make a sense over here. See, middle of a year simply means that they are basically dividing the time period of total 12 months. Okay, whether some of the months they are having 31 days or 30 days, or some of them they are having 28 days. Okay, so it hardly matters. They are just trying to take the average. Of the days, because what exactly happens in a middle of year, maximum reproductively aged females, they might be in their third trimester. Third trimester means they have just passed on with the 3 months of pregnancy, okay, or 4th month of pregnancy, or 5 months of pregnancy, and that is why the baby is just about to deliver, okay, after in coming months. So that is why it is taken to it is good to take the middle of the given year, because it can it can have maximum number of reproductively aged females, especially the pregnant ones, right? Now the rate of natural increase, the difference between the number of births and that of death is called rate of natural increase. The number of births means 100 live births, okay, and 20 deaths. Deaths cannot be live, okay, death is death, so 80. Okay, so the difference between number of births and that of death is called rate of natural increase. Okay, so demographic transition, now the term is demographic transition. If the birth and the death rate were equal, if the birth and the death rate are equal, rates are equal. Rates means per unit time the number of individuals taking birth and the number of individuals who are accepting to their destiny, the final phase of their life. It is equal, right? A zero population growth rate would result. Obviously, it's good to hear that. Zero population growth rate would result, which is known as demographic transition. Demographic transition means 100 births and around 98 deaths. So around the demographic transition of 2, it means almost equal to 0 growth rate. Almost equal to 0 growth rate. Okay. It has occurred in most of the developed countries. Yeah, it has occurred in the most of the developed countries. The reason is, I'll tell you the reason. The reason is, suppose if a person, okay, I'll rub this to give you the example. Suppose there is a person A. She got married to a person B. Okay. And they have a child C. Right? A person A and B, they have married and they got a child C. They have only one child. They are educated. They know the consequences of overexplosion of population, and that is why they have planned for to have only one baby. Understood? Now, the moment this C will comes to the reproductive age group, suppose at the time of marriage, A was of 30 years and B, she was of 26 years. Now, the moment C comes to the reproductive age group, suppose he is a boy or a girl. The reproductive ages group are slightly different, but will take an average of 17 years. So we'll add a figure of 17 on both. Now, the male is of age 47 and female, she is of age 43. Okay? Understood? So now the fact is, this male and the female is around just 45, menopause. She's just near boundary to lose the ability to reproduce. So that is the exact mindset, that if a baby, the moment baby or the boy or a girl, they come to a reproductive age group, the female, she will pass on with the reproductive age. So there is no chance to actually increase the population or the number of individuals, and that is, we can control the growth rate. Okay. Now coming to next, migration. Migration is the movement of individuals in and out of a place or a country. Thus migration is of two types. Okay, obviously it is the movement of the individuals in or out of the place or a country. Immigration, it is a movement of the individuals into an area. For example, an area has been selected and that area is having the inflow of the new individuals from other places. So it is immigration. Immigration, it is a movement of the individuals out of that area. Migration may occur within a country as well as between different countries. It can occur within a country or between different countries. But the population of a country is influenced by net immigration. The population of a country is influenced by net immigration. Net immigration means what? Immigration plus immigration. Net immigration is the immigration number of minus the immigration number. Okay. Sorry. Net immigration number, the number of individuals coming in and the number of individuals going out. So that will give a net immigration. The net immigration may be positive, 0 or even negative. Yeah, it can be positive, it can be 0, it can be negative as well. Okay. If the number of individuals going out are more than number of individuals coming in, then it is negative. Some developed countries also allow selective immigration to keep its working force at optimum level. Like there are some countries which actually allows only some particular individuals of some particular countries to help them with their developing strategies. So the developed countries, they allow some selective immigration, okay, immigration to keep its working force at optimum level, right? Just to have that labor hands with themselves, with their they need some support, and that is why they call some different types, different individuals from different countries to, they allow them to work in that place. Okay, so that will increase their net immigration. Okay, so in this way they can balance it, okay. Reasons for high population growth. The two main reasons for increase in human population are decrease in death rate because of personal sanitation management, then good medicinal facilities. Okay, mainly the maternal mortality rate. Maternal mortality rate means the mortality rate concerned with the pregnant lady, okay, the mother. And the infantile mortality rate means below 1 year. The age group of newly born individual below 1 year is known as what? Infant. Okay, so the infantile mortality rate. Increase in lifespan. Okay, increase in lifespan. Other reasons for growth in populations are, so the decrease in the infantile mortality rate and the maternal mortality rate basically give them chance to have their long lifespan, and now they are going to come, the infants are going to come in the reproductive age. Okay, and the mothers, now she's having a chance to give rise to a new replacement level, right? So that is why it becomes a very serious thought. The decrease in death rate, mainly the mortality rate and the infantile mortality rate, they can increase the lifespan. So spread of education, yeah, it should be there. People of the country now being educated about health and disease. Okay, health and disease, they now being given information, they are now being informed, they know that how much health is required, how much education is required for the health. Control of disease. Due to the government efforts, many of the epidemics, okay, means the diseases, pandemics, they are all now successfully controlled and managed. Okay, vaccines help survive from an infectious disease. General improvement in the healthcare sector gives timely treatment and helps survival rate, which in turn reduces mortality rate. Okay, helps survival rate, which in turn reduces the mortality rate. Control of communicable diseases has also caused an increasing trend of population. That's very important. Control of communicable diseases also is a very important factor of increasing trend of population. Okay. Now coming to next, advancement in agriculture. Advancement in agricultural sector has solved the many problems like food, hunger, mean the resources number are increased, so the resistance offered by the nature will decrease, and they have get chance, now the population is having chance to expand. Even better nutrition in turn improves lifespan. Obviously, better nutrition turns human lifespan. Storage facility and transport facilities. Better transport and storage facility can be used for storage food grains, and transport facility, these food grains, they can be supplied to different places according to the demand, and that is why the areas which were previously not being, they are not having a path coming in to have that food, the truck of grains, any kind of granaries they are not having, they are dependent on the some nearby major cities or all. So that is why, because of the transportation facility now becomes very easy, okay, now becomes good. The food grain, the essential commodities, they can reach to any particular pinpoint site of the country. Okay, so that is why the transport facilities and storage facility, they are very important. Storage facility means now they can store food without having the lesser destruction of the food. Okay, mean having the fumigation, having the antifungal agents, everything is to be taken care of. Protection for natural calamity, yeah, the natural disasters. Now weather forecast, they are giving every minute news about the weather forecast. So in this way, maximum individuals can be protected by making them safe-sided. Okay, the protection from natural calamity. Government efforts, government provides better facilities and infrastructure as well as the health and hygiene promotion facilities, which improves lifespan in general, and hence there is an increase in population. Okay, So there are the reasons for high population growth. Okay, so stopping someone not to die at a particular age group is also having an influence in the population growth. Okay, now coming to next, I hope everything is clear. Consequences of overpopulation. Okay, there's nothing to tell. Poverty. Okay, food supply, decrease in food supply, demand is going higher. Overcrowding, poor hygienic conditions. Overcrowding will lead to poor hygienic conditions, which will lead to further diseases. Unemployment, obviously, if the job seekers are more and the vacancies are less, so it is a condition which is jobless. Okay, unemployment. Food supply means demand going higher. Overcrowding and poor hygienic conditions lead to chance of infections, diseases, housing problems. Okay, the space area is decreasing and its carrying capacity I am writing K over here because there in the formula they have mentioned K for carrying. So please remember that. Okay. Okay. Carrying capacity of a given area. Okay. Pollution. All these are done. Pollution, obviously. If the more individuals are living in a particular area, so they are going to exploit more resources, and in turn of which they are going to produce more amount of waste, whether it is a metabolic waste or industrial waste or anything. If you have to survive, if you are the owner of the survival of suppose 1 lakh individuals living in your society, in your area, then you have to see that what they are going to do. So setting up new industries, new factories will give an environmental threat as well. Sorry. Lack of education. This is the most prominent factor. So all these factors, they are basically the consequences of overpopulation. That because of overpopulation, everything is happening. Okay. Because of overpopulation, money, the distribution of money, the fluidity, the flow of money will be unequal. And because of this, major sector, it will below or it will remain as it was before. There will be no upgradations. Measures to control population expansion. Education, most important. Let them educated. Let them know about the reproductive age. Let them know about the consequences of overpopulation. Let them know about how they can take care of themselves, how they can be reproductively healthy. Marriageable age means the exact age of marriage. It should be given an info to the person, to the family members, to the parents, that what exactly the marriageable age is. And especially the lady which is going to marry, okay, the lady who is going to marry, she should know about the marriageable age, okay, to avoid the reproductive complications, to avoid the different complications, health complications. Incentives and family planning. What does incentive means? Incentive simply means that to control population expansion, to control population, bomb, if we are giving small amount of booster doses, a small amount of money which can help or which can be used by the persons, which can incentives, it can be money, And along with money, it can be a health insurance plan, it can be a pension plan, it can be a term plan, anything. So these incentives should be added along with salary, so that the employee, okay, and the employer, they both have a better connect. Okay. Family planning, that is the final one, the family planning. Everyone should know about it, how to control the population size of that particular family. If one family is controlling the population size, hope so many of them, they are having with the same mindset and they are going to control it. Okay. Now next coming, census. Census is an official counting of the population and preparing data about age group, birth, death, sex ratios, education. When everything is included here, okay, how many deaths, how many birth, okay, what is the age sex ratio, what is the status of education. In India, the first census was carried in 1872. Since 1881, it has been conducted regular at an interval of 10 years. Okay, the last being in 2011. Census is conducted as per as the provision made under the Census Act 1948. So we are basically running with the Census Act 1948, and every census is having the policy norms based on this act only. Census gives information about the number of individuals present in a given region at a given time. The time required for a population to double itself is called doubling time, already explained. Okay, the time required by the population to double itself is the doubling time. This is the whole statistics of India's census 2001. So according to the Indian census calculated in 2011, okay, February 9 to 28, for these very days it is conducted, and provisional figures of India's 15 census were released in New Delhi on 31st of March 2011. India accounts for 17.5% of the total world population, right? Total world population, it makes 17.5% out of total world population. The main things I just told you, okay? Population was on March 1, 2011 around 121 crores. Males is around, this is the figure for males, okay? And this is the figure for females. Around 62 lakhs, okay, and around 58 lakhs, okay. So sex ratio, females per 1000 males, okay, 940. Sex ratio, females per 1000 males is 940, okay. Population density per square kilometer, 382. Decadal period of 10 years, growth rate of population between 2001 and 2011, that is 17.64. This is the growth rate of population between 2001, at a count of 10 years, the growth rate is 17.64 times. Okay. So sorry, I just told you it is 62 crores of males, total males, and it is 58 crores of females. Okay. Then the sex ratio already told you, population density. Okay. The least population state is Sikkim. Among states, Kerala has the highest sex ratio, 1084. Among union territories, Daman and Diu, they have the highest sex ratios. Okay, so you have to just go through it. Okay, there is nothing to actually make you understand with. Okay, the biggest state as per its area, Rajasthan. The smallest state as per its area is Goa. Okay, understood? Lowest density among union territories, Andaman and Nicobar, with 46 persons per square kilometer. Okay, just go through it. Nothing much. What are the different birth control methods? This topic we will be concluding in the next lecture. Till then, bye bye, take care, stay safe, be happy.